The stunning Pacific coast of Colombia, blue waters and pristine beaches, but beyond it a jungle stretching north to Panama, largely unexplored and extremely dangerous, known as the Darien Gap.
The Darien Gap is one of the most dangerous jungles on the planet, simply because of the drug traffickers, narco traffickers, armed traffickers, human trafficking, and it all seems to be focused and concentrated in that jungle.
We first met Daniel Eggington, a budding explorer from Smethwick, 4 years ago as he planned to cross the western side of the Darien Gap alone, a long-held personal challenge coupled with a desire to highlight the persecution of indigenous communities by the drug lords and paramilitary groups like the ELN and the Gulf Clan who infest the area.
Lack of education, lack of jobs, which then leads to young people being recruited into the ranks of the guerrilla factions.
Even so, the most experienced adventurers warned him against such an ambitious and hazardous journey.
Listen, you're putting your head into a bit of a hornet's nest there, but be smart and have that evacuation plan if something goes wrong.
And 2 previous attempts did go wrong, thwarted by the Colombian authorities and the COVID pandemic. But last month, Daniel finally embarked on the 60-mile trek from Jurado in the Choco region of Colombia to Jaque in southern Panama. After paying his way by road and river to a village close to the Darien, a local man agrees to help him make the crossing.
We started a proper trek now, and it didn't stop raining for the last 2-3 days.
Day 1, and after 15 grueling miles on foot and 6 river crossings carrying a 27-kilo backpack crammed with food, a sleeping bag, hammock and video equipment, river number 7 is just too dangerous to tackle in the failing daylight in one of the wettest places on earth.
I've never seen rain like it, but I feel like crying. I'm in bits.
So this is where Daniel and his guide will spend their first night in the Darien Gap.
Yeah, we have a big mountain tomorrow, big climb. So there's no river crossing, so we don't do 7 river crossings before we climb up the mountain. So it should be okay, but we shall see.
Day 2, Daniel and his guide press on in the 95% humidity, carefully avoiding poisonous spiders, giant stinging bullet ants and venomous snakes. There's no sign of paramilitary groups or drug runners, but out of nowhere 2 men approach and speak to the guide in a local language.
He said yes, they've just finished a job and they're returning back from Panama, and what job that could have been, I don't know, but they was in the attire of guerrillas, like Wellington boots, and the one had a pistol in his back of his waistband as well.
And further on, the discovery by an empty hut of an ID card once carried by a young Venezuelan woman, possibly trying to reach the USA via this dangerous and illegal route. Daniel has kept the card and has made efforts to trace her, but without success.
I'd like to think that she got from one side to the other happily, and now she's living in Miami or wherever she chose to live in the States. But after the Darien, you've got Honduras, you've got El Salvador, you've got the Mexican border, and you've got other dangers.
Then, as they approach the Panamanian border, a devastating announcement from the guide. This is as far as he'll go. He's leaving Daniel alone in the jungle.
Over the last couple of years, he'd trafficked over into Panama. He's wanted in Panama for all kinds of trafficking, be it people, be it drugs, and if the centre front, which is the border guard or the border police, military police, they would have picked him up, he would have got a lot of time in a Panama prison.
I'm broken, cracked, blistered up, tired. Left it in my hands so I don't get him locked up.
Scared but undeterred, Daniel pushes on, stopping for a second pitch-black, storm-filled night with heavy tree branches known as deadfall plunging to the jungle floor around him.
Deadfall probably 10 metres away from me, and I'm just laying on my hammock saying to myself, what can I do? Nothing I'll be able to do. I just literally laid there and hoped it didn't land on me.
Day 3 and Daniel is suffering. Skin has ripped from his shoulders and hips. He has muscle spasms in his legs. Even some of his toenails have fallen out, but he can't turn back now.
Sometimes though,
No, last night maybe. Getting lost yesterday a bit, getting lost today a bit.
Suddenly, on a riverbank, Daniel spots a boy fishing, a sure sign he's near the village of Hake and his ordeal is almost over.
5 years preparation, I've done it. I found a indigenous community, and that's next to Hake. It's 8 miles away from Hake. Next challenge is the centre front. But yeah.
The Senna Front are Panama's border security guards. After a boat ride to their outpost and an initially hostile grilling for Daniel, they decide he's not a threat and are eager to hear his amazing story.
I said to myself, before I get past 30, I'm going to cross the Darien, and then I said to myself, his project's a success.
Andy Bevan, ITV News.